Hey, everybody, it's Monday night. It's another episode of Always Bookin Comedy. We got Rafe Williams here from St. Louis.
What's up?
How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Tell me, so you run a comedy festival?
Yeah, yes, here in St. Louis, we have a comedy festival called Flyover Comedy Festival that my friend Zach Jahoviak and Brady McInich and I have. I think we're going into our 9th year.
Whoa.
And, I'm on the board, and it's been a labor of love. Zach's our CEO, and Brady's our attorney, and it's just kind of been it's something that we're real proud of, man. That we've.
Have you been in it since the first year?
Yep, I've been on board since the beginning.
Incredible.
When you're a comic, you're involved in a comedy festival, you kind of are a silent partner for a while, for as long as you can, so other comics don't ruin your life.
Okay.
You know how that is.
Sure.
I just, I wanted people to see that St. Louis has got a really strong scene, man. We got like 4 or 5 clubs here and got a really strong, small scene. And just wanted
Greg Warren in St. Louis.
Yeah. Greg's a great friend of mine. I go on the road with Greg a lot. He would hate that I call him a mentor, but he's been a good mentor to me in my career. And
nice. Good
dude. Is like having a big time career come up right now that's long overdue, man. So
yeah,
it's cool to watch him eat and see. Yeah, so funny. And man, just the pinnacle of hard work.
Yeah.
I work pretty hard, and Greg makes me feel like a lazy piece of shit. I'll be honest.
I love
the amount of material that guy puts out is wild. And it's all good. You know, his B stuff is most of our A stuff. So
yeah.
It's nice to see him getting his just desserts these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for him. So how does a festival change over 9 years? Is it bigger? Is it the same size? What's evolved?
Yeah, no, we've definitely grown. We're moving it this year to, we've been in an area called the Grove, which is kind of like, it's a 4-day festival. It started with 3 days. Now we've grown to 4.
What days of the week? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Now,
which day did you add? The Thursday?
No, we're always Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We added Sunday.
Cool.
And we even have like a Wednesday night show.
Pretty soon it'll be a whole week.
Yeah, we're getting there, and we've gotten a lot of compliments. The people that run Moon Tower Comedy Festival are like, hey, we want to partner with you guys and help promote the festival this year. So we've had a lot of growth, and a lot of it is word of mouth, man. I've been to good festivals and bad. Mm-hmm. And as a comic, that was kind of my input. I think good comedy festivals, to me, are when you cultivate a good hang for the comics, because it's such a lonely. The better you get at our art form, the lonelier your career becomes, because you're out on the road and you're doing the thing you love, but you're not hanging out. Yeah. So we try to create an environment where the audience and the comics can interact. Everything, all the venues are walkable.
Nice. I love that. That's so important.
Where they're so big and sprawling that you spend half your festival in an Uber.
Yeah,
get to hang. This is very much, all of our venues are walkable, and it's like you can, if you got a wristband and you can't get in to see this show, across the street there's another awesome show happening. And I wanted to create something with my friends that showed St. Louis is a national comedy destination, and also showcases local talent, but also national talent can come in, and it's a good hang, and the shows are fun, good audiences, because this is a real city where people come out. Like, we're a drinking city, like audiences come out. So, we wanted to create something where the shows were packed, the rooms were fun, the comics are having a good time, and the audience gets a chance to discover new people. We have big national, headliners that have no problem selling tickets, but I always made it a focus of like, who are the people that I know are funny that just don't have the following yet, or the fans that they deserve, and really packing the festival with solid submissions and people from other cities, and giving everybody an opportunity to network and, seen by industry also.
Sure. Do you have an example of a comic from year 1, 2, 3 who you took a chance on or gave an opportunity to that is now like a household name?
Oh, I mean, we've had all sorts of people blow up that, I'm trying to think of like some, we've had Janelle James pre-Abbott Elementary was one of our first headliners, and like watched her ascend after, you know, she did a small room of like 100 people, I think, our first year. And I knew Janelle, you know, I'm familiar because I knew she was great. And then, you know, of course, her trajectory, the Netflix special, and then Abbott Elementary. And, you know, she became beyond a household name. And we have several people that I've seen, you know, whether it's Catherine Blanford or Shane Torres or some of these people that, you know, were just my peers that I've watched start to, I see their trajectory kind of moving on the upward swing. And I could give you 100 examples of folks like that have come in as basically really strong feature comics who are ready to headline that are now, you know, they've got a couple Tonight Show appearances under their belt and, you know, are selling out clubs all over the place.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what time of year is the festival?
It's always the second weekend in November.
Okay. So have you announced your headliners for this year yet?
We are announcing July 22nd.
Okay. So let's go back a year. Who were your headliners last year? Do you remember?
Last year, who did we have? Our big headliners, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, we had Tig Notaro and Patton Oswalt did like a joint show.
Whoa. Which are big names. That's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah, and that was a show that I got to, I opened for them on that show, and it was a really great experience because, you know, when you get to people at that level, last year we had Aziz.
Wow.
I knew it would come to me because I was like, who did we have last year? And Aziz Ansari did the Stiefel Theater. You know, we have the Sklar Brothers, Dumb People Town came in. We had all kinds of, we've had just about everybody, man. We try to have a diverse lineup, but the night we did the Tig Notaro, Patton Oswalt show, it was the Notorious St. Louis Puke show, where someone got so violently drunk that in the middle of Tig's set, and it was like, I had gone up, Tig was on stage probably wrapping up her last 10 minutes before Patton went on and did like, they're each doing like 40. And this lady just threw up all over the person in front of her. It was so drunk, she didn't want to leave. She's like, I paid for my ticket. I'm good. Like she wasn't mean. Like in her mind, she's like, I feel fine now.
Yeah. I feel better. I feel great.
To where Tig had to stop the show and be like, I think we have a medical emergency going on over here. And, you know, when you work with headliners of that magnitude, a lot of times behind the scenes, it's a giant theater show. There's 4,000 people. You don't interact with them much. They're getting in their headspace. Tig's getting in her headspace. Patton's getting in his. And as an opener, there's usually a cordial, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. But this really gave me an opportunity. They'll always remember me now. If I see them out, I'll be like, you know, because a lot of times you can run into people you open for. They don't remember. They meet so many people.
Yeah.
They'll always be like, St. Louis Puke Show.
Yeah.
Remember, we're backstage and the lady was dressed all in. We have an area of our town called Soulard, which is like the drinking part of St. Louis, and it's French Quarter themed and a lot of like green and white. And this lady was dressed like she was a mascot for that part of the town. She had like a big green and white beret and suspenders. She'd clearly been out partying all day. We were backstage, and I remember we were all pitching Tig jokes on like, how do I handle this when I go back out? Like I have to address. They shut the show down for like a half hour to get this lady out, get an ambulance in, get her out. And I just remember Patton goes, hey, Rafe, can you peek? Like they were really worried whose fan it was, you know. And they go, hey, can you peek at just what she looked like? Does she seem like a Tig fan or a Patton fan? And I just peeked around the corner and I go, well, it's hard to tell, but she is wearing a Ratatouille t-shirt. And Patton Oswalt was like, you're shitting me. And I go, yeah, I'm just kidding. She's actually wearing a Home Depot tool belt. And Tig goes, oh no, she's one of mine. And I didn't have the heart to tell him, but I do radio here in morning radio here in St. Louis. And I looked at her, and since she was dressed like she was part of our city, I go, I think this actually might be one of mine, but I ain't telling nobody.
Right. Sure.
I was going to let them think it was one of theirs, and I'm taking it to the grave. This is the first time I've admitted it on any public forum. But, you know, it was really fun because we were like just pitching. It was fun because we were like interacting, and then she had a big green and white beret on, and I looked out there and I turned back to Patton and Tig, and I said, guys, I don't know whose fan she is, but she's wearing a giant green beret. And I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that lady was even in the Special Forces. And Patton Oswalt started dying laughing, and he stood up and saluted me and started to sing the song from the Green Berets, like 100 men will pass today. And we all were singing, what only 3 wear a green beret. And I was like, this is one of the greatest comedy moments of my life. So, you know, that lady was a blessing in disguise. And then we got a national write-up because of it.
Wow.
Like, you know, I can't remember if it was Variety. Somebody grabbed a hold of it because it was like the infamous St. Louis puke show where the show was interrupted, and it ended up being really good for our festival. So we owe that lady. So now I'm going to plan a puking person in every show on our festival. Sure.
Yeah. What a move. What a pro move.
Yeah.
So new festivals, take note.
That's right. So if you want to do that, feel free. I give you permission.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to turn lemons into lemonade.
Right.
Have you had any kind of high profile cancellations or any like venue shut down? Like Rogue Island Festival in Newport famously had a venue burned down, like I think the day before the festival.
Really?
Yeah. So pretty, it'd be hard to reach that epic a level of disaster, but the hard stories are always the most fun to me. You ever have anything like that happen?
I haven't had anything burned to the ground. We've certainly had festivals closed, or excuse me, like venues closed in between festivals where it has created logistical nightmares. That's why we're glad we're moving it this year to the Del Mar Loop here in St. Louis, which has the pageant and Del Mar Hall and all of these performance venues that are like tried and true, been around for a long time. You know, COVID hurt. COVID closed a lot of the venues that we like to use, especially the smaller ones.
What did you do during COVID? Did you just take a year off? Did you do something virtual? Yeah.
We didn't do 2020. Otherwise, this would be 10 years. Because I believe I think 2016 was our first year, or 2017. So we would either be in our 10th year. But yeah, we did one in 2021 and it was successful. Because by that time in November, people were coming out of their bubbles.
And people were great back then. People were so excited to get out and do things.
Awesome.
The energy was excellent.
Yeah. And I think last year we had like Beth Stelling and Kyle Kinane and all kinds of people that I love. Rory Stoltz, and like comedians that should be household names.
Yeah.
And are in their own right.
Yeah.
So we haven't had that, but we have had like even last year, and it taught me just not to pivot. Sometimes you got to stick to your guns. I forgot what we had. One of the venues was a big venue, and they had said they had the date for us, and then they just booked something after they had said, we loved having you guys. Can't wait to have you back next year. So then the venue operator was like, hey, what if we move the festival to October? I have open dates. And this was like the big venue for the big headliner we needed. And we acquiesced and did it. And then they asked us to move. We moved. And then, a few months go by and he goes, hey, you guys might want to move your festival. Well, why is that? And he's like, I just booked a big act at the Enterprise Center. It's comedy. It's going to be the same weekend as the festival. And I go, we moved it because you asked us to.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you tell us who it is? And he's like, it's a secret. I can't tell you.
How big's that center?
I remember we had one year where like Seinfeld and Gaffigan were doing like a tour of the Enterprise Center, like doing stadium tours.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really hurt us because we're more of it's kind of an old school, clean comedy audience. We're more of like a hip, up and coming, probably for a younger crowd. But this time he had booked Adam Sandler. It was like Sandler's tour. And I'm like, oh man, you booked the guy that's literally for everyone. So it's going to be Gen X people trying to take their kids to go see Sandler. And we knew it was going to hurt us. And we were just like, last minute, we moved everything back to November to our original date.
Uh-huh.
everything ended up
Had
working
you
out.
already sold passes? Like,
No,
where were you in the
we
cycle? Had
got
you
the
accepted?
news early enough that it was it didn't
Okay.
cause any problems, but it taught me a lesson, which was don't negotiate for venues.
Right.
Work around it. The next time if it ever happened again, I would work around it because
Yeah.
they're book. And to that guy's credit, he's a good dude. He's just booking.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing his job. But I was like, we moved it on your request now, and you booked the Sandman.
Yeah.
But it ended up working out. Like the same venue had a dropout on the weekend we needed. We booked Aziz. He was starting his tour off, needed a place to start his tour off, and everything. We came out smelling like a rose.
Nice.
And I also just like the idea of having it be at the same time every year, so people kind of mark off their calendars for it. I'm sure you run the Vail.
Yeah. Comedy
Festival. I'm sure
every Memorial Day weekend.
Right. And I'm sure you don't want to pivot off that because people know that's when it is. And they plan around it. So
yeah. I have thought about shifting it for other reasons, but if I did move it, I'd want to stay roughly the same time of year every year.
Memorial Day tough.
What's that?
Is Memorial Day hard?
It's not a super busy time in Vail. So it's kind of like a down time. So it would be easier for me to sell tickets if I moved it to a different time, but that would raise other problems. Like hotel rooms would be more expensive.
Sure.
It'd be harder to get venues.
It's the opposite here. I'm in Missouri where we have Lake of the Ozarks. Memorial Day, Labor Day is like, this city's a ghost town. Everybody goes to the lake. And it's real hard to move tickets or even do any shows on those weekends. So
yeah,
you got the opposite. You're at a vacation place, so it's probably a hotbed that time.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Vail is it's a ski town. So the ski mountain is closed, but summer hasn't started yet. And traditionally it's what they call mud season. So it's like raining a lot and the snow is melting, and it's just not the most desired. Like fancy rich people go to Vail and they know this isn't the best time to visit. The weather is not necessarily the best. We've been really lucky. We've had great weather. I've always said, if I run the festival for 10 years, one of those years, there's going to be a blizzard. It just happens. Like, it seems unusual for it to snow that late, the last weekend in May, but it's going to happen one of these years. We've done 5 years. One of the years, it barely snowed one of the nights. That's the closest we got.
Well, I had my friends, Nick Vatterot's a good pal of mine.
Oh, I love Nick. And I love him even more after he did the festival. He was an absolute all-star.
Yeah, he's awesome, dude. He's a guy that it's proof that the industry doesn't know what to do with some people, because that guy, usually you can go to other cities and see comics and you'll be like, oh, that's Denver's, which I was just in Denver, by the way.
Oh, no way.
This last weekend, which is funny. I realized you're in Denver today, and I was like,
oh,
could have said,
what did you do?
I came and went to Pikes Peak. I just more of a vacation. I came out and did a sober house show. Sometimes I've been sober for 15 years. Sometimes,
yeah, sure.
It's kind of weird. Like, I'll get these gigs where it'll be like a Sans Liquor event, but it'll be like people that run sobriety houses all over the country. And then
I've done some what am I trying? NA. And I did some AA stuff over Zoom. And crazy good audiences for being sober.
Yeah, they're really great.
Yeah,
and they want to have a good time. And it's the thing that the key is, like, I think a lot of they're sober go in there and try to make the whole thing about that. Like, no, man, they're already living, so just go be funny.
Yeah,
they just want to have a good time.
Yeah,
and it's been a nice little side hustle, for lack of a better word, of just like, I get referred. There'll be people from other cities that are at these shows. They'll be like, hey, you should come to our place. Well, and pay is usually pretty good. They take care of you. So it was nice. And then I just hung out in Denver, went to Pikes Peak, Garden of the Gods, did that whole touristy thing over the weekend. So, but
beautiful place to visit, 4th of July. I wish I would have known. I had shows. I did 4 shows in 3 days.
Oh, I wish I'd known. Might have came in.
But up in the mountains, but beautiful places.
Yeah.
We had Rojo Perez from the Tonight Show. And I don't know if you know Steve Gillespie from Conan.
Mm-hmm.
Super funny dude. So I got some questions for you as a experienced festival.
Yeah. I will say this about Nick, though, because I got off sidetrack. That dude's, you can go to other cities usually, and you'll be like, oh, that's Seattle's so-and-so.
Mm,
They'll remind you of another comic, the way they perform, and
sure.
you will not find another Nick Vatterott.
No, he's incredible. I'll tell you a quick funny Nick Vatterott story. We do this thing where you can come to any show as a comic, headliner or submission comic, and put your name on a standby list pre-show. And if somebody doesn't show up, somebody went hiking too long, somebody got sick, somebody just didn't make the festival at all, there's usually several spots during the festival that get filled by the standby list. And we just jot down your name and how much unique material you can do, because at our festival, we have a lot of overlap with the audience. And so we just ask the comics to always be doing different jokes. And so Nick, I asked him, how much unique time do you have? Like that you're not going to do. And he was like, he basically looked at me like it's infinity. And I was like, well, like how many hours? He was like, I don't know, 3. I could do 3 hours right now. And I was like, okay, 180 minutes. It was just a bonkers response. Cause even people who've been doing it 15, 20 years, they're usually like, nah, I got 15.
Remember half the jokes. Yeah. Now Nick probably can, dude. He's a savant. He's a St. Louis guy. His sister Abby's a good friend of mine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Abby and her husband Michael and we're writing a movie together.
Abby came to the festival. Did you know that?
Yeah. Abby and Michael both came too. I think they did some improv maybe while they were there.
No, they were part of the film. We have a film festival as part of the festival, and they had a short called Mashy Potatoes.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole family's talented, man. There's like 3 or 4 funny people in that Vatterott clan. And there's St. Louis folks, and Abby and I have done all sorts of stuff together. She's very funny and talented, and her husband, Michael, very close. They're like Chicago improv people. There's a lot of talent in this city that comes out of this city. So I'm proud of all those guys, man.
Yeah. Vatterott, he really shined at the festival this year. And it was crazy because he was one of the most consistently funniest person on a show all throughout the festival, and he headlined the closing show. So we had to do like another 45 minutes. And I was like kind of wondering, like, has he already spent his ammo, And no, man, he killed for 45 minutes. It was awesome. Yeah, if anybody watching this hasn't heard of Nick Vatterott, Vatterott, give him a look, man. He's great. He's killer.
Yep. Nick's amazing.
Yeah. So let me ask you, do you guys do passes that are like all access? Or are you selling individual tickets?
We do both.
You do both. How do you handle capacity?
What's that?
Stuff? How do you handle capacity stuff? Like what happens when a pass person shows up and there's no room, or can a single ticket holder show up and not have a seat for them?
So we sell X amount of single ticket holders. We always tell people, if you really want to see a show, buy a ticket.
Okay.
Like if you absolutely, with the exception of, I think with our VIP, like if you buy the VIP big show, like let's say you bought the weekend wristband plus VIP, I don't remember, and it's pretty affordable. I think it's like $85. We don't charge a ton. And I think our wristbands are like $50-$60 a person. It's very affordable because you could literally see, if you really want to get after it, you could see 3 or 4 shows a night you can see 12 to 15 shows for $40. Good luck getting that on the secondary ticket market anywhere.
Yeah.
And we usually guarantee like X amount of spots at the Stiefel Theater. If there's 4,000 seats, we mark off all our wristband holders that bought VIP. So that's a guaranteed thing. Otherwise, we always leave like a certain amount of overflow. So we guarantee X amount of ticket holders, wristband holders will get into a show. And we have a ticket line, and then we have a wristband line, and then we have a standby line. And we have volunteers run all that. And basically it's like, if you're a wristband holder and you really want to see Kyle Kinane, then go get in line, early and get in there and be like, I want to see Kyle. And so if you're a wristband holder and you really want to see a show, you can get in. It's just going to be like a little work on to guarantee yourself a spot. But we don't have a ton of problems, man. And that's the thing, is we pack it with so much talent. And that was always the thing. Like I did a Detroit Improv Festival where we performed there, but also like there were shows I wanted to see. And it was like, because the venues are close together, it's like, I tried to go see like Paul F. Tompkins' podcast live, and it was sold out. But there was a great improv team with Rich Tallarico named Dasariski that was 2 doors down. And I I walked 10 feet and I went and saw an awesome show.
Yeah.
And I think if you give people that experience, you don't get a lot of complaints. Like,
Sure.
and we're very communicative in our emails, and we have good PR people that kind of get people ahead of the curve in that way of like, hey, if there's something you want to see, if you absolutely have to see Beth Stelling, then buy a Beth Stelling ticket on top of your wristband, guarantee yourself a spot, or get there hella early. So you can, you know.
Yeah. What kinds of stuff do you do besides traditional stand-up?
We're an all-inclusive, so we have improv, sketch, stand-up, podcast.
How does a sketch work? Is it like a sketch team does like a whole hour, or is it a bunch of you cobble together like an SNL episode from a bunch of different...
everybody has their own show. Like we've had great, you know, we've had improvised Shakespeare. We've had some big, we bring improv teams. There's a team called The Big Team out of UCB in LA. Man, these guys are amazing. Most of them are writers, and Carl Tart's a writer on SNL now. A lot of those guys were on, what was the show on NBC? The Grand Team, something like that. The Grand something. I'm going to mess it up.
Okay.
A lot of those dudes are writers in LA, and we bring in teams from all over the country and have local teams. And then sketch is the same way. We've had, we brought in sketch teams from New York that were like writers on Stephen Colbert that did like a little sketch show. We've had Rob Corddry come in and do like,
oh, cool.
We've had really interesting. There's a group called, I think it's Good Cop, Rad Cop.
Oh yeah, the music duo.
Yeah, like they come in and do their show, and we've had a lot of really cool. We do like sketch / variety, so we'll usually just take X amount of people, and then we try to give them a venue where they can, have whatever they need to do. A truncated version of their show, usually 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Same with improv. We just do we time the sets. We're like, we'll light you. Just like stand up. Like you got a 25-minute set, do whatever you want.
Yeah. That's neat, man. That's all. Have you done any magic or movie stuff?
I'm trying to think if we've done movie. We had somebody that wanted to do a movie screening last year, and we talked to Alamo about doing it, and then the person pulled out. We would do it. We're open to whatever. Yeah. We try to accommodate, we have a lot of different types of acts, and we haven't ever really turned anyone down because of,
what they're doing.
If it's highly technical, we're always like, bring your own tech person. Like, don't put that. We do provide tech for shows as long as it's simple tech, but that's just kind of how we run things. I try to make it's all artist centric. I feel like if you make it fun for the artists, you don't have to advertise your festival because word of mouth gets out. And that's how we've grown, man, is comics telling other comics like, yo, this festival rules.
Yeah.
Fun. They take care of you. The after parties are fun, and you get to hang out with all your friends. And I've had people pay to submit that I almost was embarrassed that they paid, like huge headlining acts are like, hey man, I heard about your festival. I'm not above paying my $25 submission fee. And I think that is the biggest compliment that you can get is when comics are not even going through their agents. They're just like, hey, all my friends said, come do this.
I can't believe the people who apply to bail that have like Comedy Central half hours. I'm like, this is crazy. No wonder I'm not getting into as many festivals. That's
right.
That just sounds so awesome.
That's the hard part of the festival, right? It's telling people no.
It's my least favorite part. And that's all. I only send the rejection letter. I just so everybody knows, I say this every chance I get. I don't watch any submission tapes. I don't watch a single one. So other people are paid to do that.
I am only there. I'm a discrepancy person.
Mm.
The thing we do guarantee, because it is disheartening, is like, we will watch your tape. Even if it's shitty, we'll watch it.
Yeah.
And we guarantee to watch the first 5 minutes, and
that's what we do.
I will give feedback if someone does, there's always like one person that'll burn the house down every year. We'll get like the scathing email from someone who's been doing comedy for 3 years,
Yeah.
Or
we do. I offer,
because they don't think about the fact that like it may not even have anything. You can't take that kind of stuff personally. And we do try to send feedback. We send people feedback of like, hey, you didn't get in, but we really liked and goes a long way because this does happen a lot. You only hear back when it's good. And when you don't, we're all artists and we're left to our own devices of like, well, fuck them. They don't know good. Or you think you suck or your tape sucks. And we'll try to send feedback to especially people that were like on the short list and say, hey, you didn't get in, we can only let in so many people, but really loved this bit about, your dishwasher. Thought that was solid, man. Really enjoyed it. Made me laugh, and just getting a little bit of feedback to let them know you watched their shit.
Yeah.
And that you enjoyed it. You even get good PR from people who didn't get in.
Yeah. I got a crazy email this year. Somebody responded to our rejection email and said, I've been doing comedy for 10 years. This is the best rejection email I ever received.
That's great.
Thank
and
you.
There's an art to that because it is hard, man. It's not fun.
It is. It's
there are great people. And dude, that's what I always tell people too, is I'm like, man, I'm a working professional comedian. I may not be on the Mount Rushmore of comedy, but I'm pretty fucking good. And I don't get into everything, like I've gotten rejected still to this day. You never know what they're dealing with on their end in terms of diversity and trying to like book different types of comedy. So there's something for everybody. And maybe they couldn't fit you into what they were trying to build that year. It's not an indictment on your talent necessarily. And I think people have to learn not to take that personally.
There's also a huge element of subjectivity. Like
100%,
depending on who's watching your tape, they might not care about the NFL or dishwashers or they might hate cats and you do 5 minutes about cats.
Or quite frankly, man, it could be the 35th thing they've watched in a row.
Yeah.
They could have just saw a bit similar.
That's when I give feedback to anybody who wants it.
You have a killer dishwasher bit, but you're like, oh man, somebody 3 tapes before you did a dishwasher bit. So now it makes your shit seem unoriginal, even though it's not.
Right.
So you never know.
There's a lot of luck.
There is so much subjectivity.
Yeah.
And that goes not just for my festival and yours, but all of them. JFL.
Yeah.
I mean, there are like industry tastemakers that you just may not be their cup of tea. That doesn't even mean they may be blind to how talented you are because they're looking down a certain, I'm not saying they're not good at what they do, but I moderate a lot of industry panels with the people who book JFL and Michael Cox and all these, and it's like, they're just people, man. They're just people who like what they like and they have a good eye for talent, but that doesn't mean not everyone they pluck hits.
Yeah.
And not everyone they don't pluck goes on to live in obscurity. Sometimes, and they're happy to take credit for people after they pop too.
Right. Sure. I got a question about this panel. One, how do you get industry to the festival and how has that grown over the years? And two,
no, you go ahead.
And two is just like, where do you slot the industry stuff? Is it like in the morning or is it prime time? Those are the two questions.
Well, the thing we do is like, we don't do specifically like industry showcases because I think that ruins a festival.
I agree.
There is a balance to me of like, the thing I loved about High Plains in Denver is there's no industry and it's by design. And dude, I saw some of the best because it's your friends doing the craziest shit they've got because they're trying to make other comics laugh. They're trying to make the audience have a good time and there's no pressure. They're not worried about getting a late night set or getting booked on something else. And there's a freedom to that I think some of the best art is born of that. So what we tried to do was split the difference there of like, and I've gone to like, I went to Laughing Skull and I had an industry showcase and I did really well and it got me a lot of stuff. And so it is cool, but also everyone was just obsessed with industry. And I watch friends of mine turn into fucking goblins at an after party, like they're not even looking at you, man. They're looking through you, trying to see if Michael Cox is looking at them and they're looking over your shoulder. And it's just like, I see people like just trying to like, and I get it, man, it's part of the business, but they're trying to like maneuver their way into a conversation with one of these industry folks. And then the industry people don't like that either. Like they don't like being gawked at, like just, it has to be organic or, so what we try to do is we just have industry pop around the fest and pop in on the shows they want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And we ask them to like, hey, be at shows. All we ask is we pay your way here. Like, you don't have to ask them. They're looking for talent. A lot of the agents and managers are just there for their people. And I think that's something that people need to learn, what comics need to learn about festivals is like, if someone's an agent or a manager, they're there with William Morris or they're there with Levity, they're usually there with a client they already have and pushing them, not necessarily looking for you. So if you meet them and they don't talk to you or they don't follow up, don't take it personal, because they're probably there maneuvering, trying to get their person they already represent more spots,
Right.
or they're hobnobbing with the other industry, trying to get their person onto the Tonight Show. So what we try to do, man, is just kind of cultivate a scene where like industry's kind of around, and we have hangs where like the industry's available, like a brunch. And we do an industry panel to where comics can come, and I usually moderate that, and there's no union for comedy, but if there was a foreman, it's me. And I'll ask the hard questions that comics don't want to ask, and I'm like, I tell them before we do it, I'm like, I'm gonna kind of come at you guys with the way the comics talk amongst ourselves, which is like, I remember asking, and they're so cool about it. Like Josh Sandoval, Colleen McGar, Michael Cox, Emily LaFord, like all of these people come, and they're such cool people. I'm like, I'm going to kind of bust you guys' balls a little bit up there. And they love it. And they think it's great, and it's like, I'll ask them the things like, it feels like in this new environment, you guys don't really fuck with us unless we've already cultivated our own fan base. It almost feels like whatever world used to exist where Jonathan Netflix was in a 10-gallon hat in the back of the room and takes a cigar out of his mouth and is like, whatever it is, kid, you got it. And I'm gonna make you a star. Like that's not really the industry anymore. It's more hitching your wagon to someone whose star is already on the rise, or, someone who can sell tickets. It is a money game, dude. And it's like, that's unfortunate, and comedy's very siloed now. I used to know everybody, and now everyone will be like, do you know the Chicken Man? I'll be like, I do not. And they're just like, oh, this guy's selling out arenas. And that's just the guy's probably great. I had never heard of him.
Yeah.
And so everything with the algorithm is so siloed now. It's like industry's getting that way too, where like I'll ask them questions like that. And I think comics appreciate it usually when I'm like, it feels like there's a gatekeep to the gatekeep now, where it's like we almost have to get a big following or go do a don't tell special and hope that pops and gets us to 60,000 to 100,000 to 200,000 followers. And then if that happens, then maybe you guys come sniffing around. The development trajectory has just changed. And I think a lot of people and a lot of comics get frustrated with it because they're doing the work and they're funny and they're just not, they're not seeing the upward mobility maybe in the way they would hope to see it. So that is how we kind of handle industry at our festivals. Just like let them come be normal human beings, have a good time, treat them right, have fun with them, and understand that like they got a job to do too, man. They're all trying to book festivals and keep their job, and they're gambling on people when they can, but it's also like they have to move tickets. Like if they take a big chance on a bunch of comics and don't sell any tickets, that festival goes under. And so there's an ebb and flow to it all.
Yeah. We got to land the plane a little bit, but I want to talk about you as a comic.
Sure.
How long you been doing it? You started in St. Louis?
Yeah. So I moved here. I started in St. Louis in 2012.
Okay.
So I've been doing it since 2012 minus COVID years,
Okay.
whatever. I don't know what that comes out to. Right
End of
around
15. You're in that range.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in the 15-year mark. And been doing it, had a great career out of here, man. I feel like, a lot they're always LA and New York is always the question you get from people like, when you moving, you've done everything you can do. And, I always tell managers and agents the same thing. Like, when you give me a job in comedy, I'll write for someone else. I'll write for the fucking Disney Channel, but like, I want to use my comedy brain. I don't want to I'm too old to move to LA and drive Uber all day and then think that I'm going to like get off the 101 and go hit all these open mics. Because you also have to be able to stay in the city. If you make that move, you can't, if you got to go out and tour 40 weeks a year just to live in Manhattan, you're not in New York anyway.
Yeah.
You're just paying to live in a shoebox. But I do feel like if COVID changed anything, a lot of people, the Stockholm syndrome of those two cities wore off, and a lot of people moved back to their home cities. And I've seen a lot of strong scenes in Nashville, Austin, Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, the Adam Caton Holland and all the Grolix guys, man, those guys are some of the best working comics. Kronberg's in Denver. And I'm going to space my boy AJ's still out in Denver. Like, there's some really killer comics in some of these what we considered smaller city scenes.
Sure. Yeah, and you don't need to be in New York or LA as much anymore, especially if you're on the road every weekend. And Denver's more central. It's better than in New York or LA for flying places.
St. Louis too. We're a Southwest hub, so I can fly out of here. I can live cheap and fly out of here cheap. And what that did for me as a comic, which was kind of what I was getting at, you beat me to the punch here. I was able to be a professional comic sooner and keep my life small and pay $600 rent and $300 flights out of Southwest hub. So I was able to really get better faster because I could quit my full-time job and be like, I'm going to be a full-time comic and I'm going to live hand to mouth for a while and take all these gigs in the Midwest, in laundromats and fucking, bar shows.
I'm doing a funeral home this week.
Yeah. And like, those are character builders, but they'll make your act bulletproof.
Yeah.
Like, you got to avoid some of the road hack stuff. You have to be mindful of it yourself of like, there's stuff that'll get laughs in those rooms that is a little road doggy. You got to like kind of avoid. You just have to make the conscious effort to avoid those things. But I do think I've had a successful career, man. I've been to Moon Tower 3 years in a row. I've had industry sniff around. I've gone to the finals of Just for Laughs, Montreal a couple times in New York, where I was like, I didn't get it, but I was in the room.
In the conversation.
Yeah, and I was in the conversation, and people are aware of me. Industry is aware of me, and it's like, there are benefits to proximity if you're in LA, and they're like, hey, somebody dropped out. We need somebody to go do one line in an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's a little easier to get somebody that lives in, Silver Lakes than it is St. Louis to go like take a last minute audition. So there are benefits, and also just being around. If you're around the store, you're around the cellar, maybe a bigger comic takes you under their wing. I've almost seen that become the new gatekeepers are almost like other comics putting their openers specials on their YouTube channels and giving them access to their audiences, But I've had a good career out of here, man. Done the Netflix fest twice, and there's nothing that I've wanted for my career other than stability. I've had big opportunities out of here, and I think you work hard. You got to be able to deliver the goods when your number gets called. I do think that is the thing that a lot of comics don't work on. And, Greg Warren probably gave me the best piece of advice I ever got. We all get to that point where you start to get frustrated, or you feel like you're being overlooked, or you feel like, because comedy's not a staircase.
Yeah.
It's like you're up and then you're down 2, and then you're up 5, and then you're down 9. And it's not a linear path, and there's no union to promote you. You don't just necessarily just because you're headlining doesn't mean, just because you're featuring for X amount of years and killing in that 20-minute hole doesn't mean you just automatically get the headline. There's it's a lot of luck, man. It really is. But I think if you're kind, you're easy to work with, and you can deliver when your number's called, that'll get you. It's just like any other business, man. Just be good to people. Don't be an asshole. Be easy to work with. Be grateful for where you're at.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing, dude. It's like, I think about 15 years ago, like 13-year-old me would be ecstatic. Like, oh, you're a professional comedian. You get paid. You earned you bought a house with comedy money. and you tour all around. You don't have to have a real job. I'd be like, yeah, pretty cool, right? 13-year-old me, or even me 15 years ago when I was still bartending, would be like, that's fucking awesome, dude. But you know, the bar's always moving, the brass ring.
I think that's the biggest secret in comedy is being happy where you are.
It's very hard, and you have to really focus on like, and that's what Greg kind of told me. You know, I don't remember what. It's been a few years ago, and I was just getting kind of frustrated because I was knocking on the door of a lot of big opportunities. I had gotten JFL 3 years in a row and gone to the finals in New York, where they were like, man, we were taking 13 people and there were 20 names left on the table, and you were one of them, man. Just next, you're this close, you know, you're always this close. And I was getting frustrated and like feeling sorry for myself or whatever. You know, we all go through those periods. And, you know, Greg just said, well, hey, why'd you start doing comedy? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, what got you into comedy? Why do you do it? And I go, because I love it. I love making people laugh. And he goes, all right. How do you make people laugh? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, what do you do to make people laugh? And you tell jokes. And he goes, and where do jokes come from? And he goes, I'm like, you write them. And he goes, and that's something you can control every single day. And he's like, you can. And he goes, what's the best feeling in the world when you're a young comic? And I'm like, well, when a joke works. Yeah. And he goes, right. And that's something he's like, you have control of that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He goes, all this other stuff you can't control. He's like, the peaks in this industry are so far apart that if that's the only thing you have to sustain yourself, this industry is going to eat you alive. And you're going to be a miserable, bitter comic. He's like, you got to learn to live in the valleys, brother. And he's like, and he goes, if you can find joy in the thing that got you started, which was writing good material, working it out, beating on it with a hammer, making it work on stage. And he challenged me, you know, he was like, I challenge you for a year. Just do that. Don't worry about what clubs you're working or JFL or Netflix Fest or how many people watched your YouTube special. And he goes, just for a year, focus on the thing you can control. And he's like, what you're going to find, he goes, come back and talk to me in a year. And he's like, you're going to find those peaks got closer together. And that's not going to be by accident. And it's like, because when you're doing the work and you're getting better, you're becoming a better comic and people are just going to notice.
Yeah.
And it all happened. Like I was happier, man. I just let go of it. And I'm like, dude, because he's like, he goes, you're in the top. He goes, think about this, where you're at right now. You're a headlining comic. He's like, you feature for me. You're headlining small clubs. You're earning a living on comedy. He's like, you are in the top 4% of your field. You are doing better than 96% of people who try comedy, who've gone to an open mic, who've tried to make a career of this. You made a career of it. He's like, only about 4 or 5% of people make a career of it. He goes, now the problem with comedy is the difference between the top 4% and the top 1% is about $10 million. And he goes, I don't know how to help you with that. But, you know, it puts stuff in perspective for you where I'm like, yeah, I'm a lucky dude, man. I'm lucky that I get to do this. I chased an impossible dream. And, you know, I may not get to be on Mount Rushmore next to Dave Chappelle. Maybe I will. Who knows? But if I don't, that is not the metric of success or failure.
Sure.
Like write jokes, have a good time, you know, and the peaks get closer together. And if you find joy in the thing that you started doing comedy for, man, it's made me such a happier person.
Yeah.
So I owe him for that, you know. And he's just a good dude. He's a wise guy. You know, he also said, he's like, you've learned how to kill. He's like, I don't ever take you on the road and worry that you're not going to kill. You know, he's like, now you have to decide what you want to say. He goes, when we first start comedy, man, it's just throw all the shit you have against the wall. If it's funny, it's in. And he goes, now you've learned, you know how to kill, and your hit rate's so much better as a writer. You kind of know out of the gate now, like I got 3 things in here that are going to smash. And then you got the fence posts of a bit, right? And then you're like filling in. You're like, this is a little weak. I got to figure out something. I got to move this here. But he's like, now you have to decide what exactly it is you want to talk about and what you want to say and what makes you unique, as opposed to just throwing it all against the wall when you start. And like, I believe that's how you truly level up as a comic and as a performer and as an artist. And, I focus on those things, dude, and having a good time. And my feng shui is a lot better up here.
Rules, man.
The furniture up here is in a much better situation.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, I'm happy to hear it. And I'm glad you came out to Colorado and brought some of those laughs out this way.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I'm coming back.
Tell people how to find the festival and how to find you, and we'll wrap this up.
Follow me at I am Rafe Williams on Instagram and all the handle. That's my handle on pretty much everything. Okay. And the festival is flyovercomedyfest.com. Check it out and get you some ticks.
Cool. I've flown to St. Louis. I went for a concert near Busch Stadium, I think it's called, the baseball park. Yeah, and great city to visit. So if you no matter where you are, fly in, go check out the festival.
Yeah, and it's a great weekend to come check out the city, and there's plenty of stuff to do during the day. We got like hangouts and stuff like that. We can do city museum field trips. So we cultivate hangs outside of comedy for you to see a little bit of our city while you're here. So yeah, come see Flyover Fest, July 22nd. We're going to announce. We got some I'm excited for who we have. We have announced David Cross. I can tell you that. David
cool.
We announced him early, but we have a whole bunch of headliners. Let me see if there's anybody else I can tell you real quick as we're wrapping this up.
Sure.
If Zach will kill me or not. Let's see here. I believe I'll give you this one. I know that we have someone who's affiliated with the Daily Show.
Okay.
Who's a junior.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Awesome. Yeah.
If that's enough of a hint.
Yeah, I got it. I'm sure people can fill it in.
So yeah, we're excited. And we have a whole bunch of other really cool acts we got coming in. So we're real excited about it. So June 22nd or July 22nd, we're going to announce everybody. We're going to put out the poster. Check it out and get in now. Get your wristbands. Get in early.
Yeah, that rules, man. Congratulations on having something 9 years long. That's really quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
And yeah. Everybody tune in every Monday. We got a huge back catalog. Rafe Williams, everybody. I am Rafe Williams all over the internet.